Yeah, is Utah's terminology similar to yours? Is that one of the things she's going to have to adjust to?
Yeah, I think things like, when you go to practice and you hear, coaches talk about, well, number one, what they're running is, basically mostly pick and roll, but number two, something as nuanced as a screening angle. That is something that's really hard sometimes for college players that have never either been taught that or have heard of that. It's not a priority. And so, muscle memory wise, it's already there for Liz. And so, I don't think we'll have to tell her twice, sort of what we mean, to force a defender to go over on a screen, how to position yourself to be able to do that to create the best opportunity for both the guard and for the post. And I think some of the actions, if you watch Utah too, were a little more spaced and bigs catching. They're spaced at 3-point line. They're driving. They're moving for windows to three. Lists will move very easily into windows, opportunities for three. I think it's easy to do at the four spot. And I mean, it seems like it'll be an easy transition, but obviously time will tell.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Terry?
Hey, Coach.
Hi, Terry.
Thanks for taking the time with us tonight.
Yep.
Congratulations on the acquisition. There obviously was a lot of joy in the room in the videos that we've seen.
Good.
I'm curious if there is anything you learned from Alyssa in sort of the prospect interviews, part of the process with her. She obviously put a lot of great, tape on display, and I think this goes a little bit off of the practice observations that Pat asked about, but just how those conversations with her went, and if you learned anything about her as a player and as a person in those conversations.
Yeah, of course, we've learned a lot. We generally do two levels of interviews. I try to let the cooler part of our staff make the first contact with the player, so I avoid that call, and we allow them to maybe have conversations that maybe they wouldn't if the head coach was on the phone with them. So they really enjoyed the conversations. You really try to get to know more about them. We could see the basketball. We want to hear more about their families and their interests and their whys, so to speak, and what sort of drives them. Do they understand what's next? Can they express that? And Liz, I thought, was either very well coached by her coach, to hit the things that her coach knows she's going to have to do, or she's really self-aware. And we're going to choose to believe the latter, that she's really self-aware, and that came through on the calls. And I think her, deeply rooted heritage and family, that came through as well on the calls. And I think to demonstrate a passion, comes from a large family. So that was, again, in our course of spending time in Salt Lake and then spending on the call. Her family is extremely important to her. She expressed that on the broadcast tonight, and so there are a lot of endearing qualities about her, in addition to being a good basketball player.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Terry.
Leo?
Hi, Coach Reeve. It's Leo, Kenneth Hoopus.
Hi, Leo.
I just want to ask you, so y'all obviously made the trade earlier this morning for 7 to 8, and so yeah, you must have felt comfortable with Alyssa being available at that spot. And so with that, how high was Alyssa on your guys', on y'all big board? Did you feel confident that she would be there? Did you have backup plans? How was she on your board?
Yeah, the trade that we made yesterday morning, certainly, you don't do those kinds of trades unless you feel really confident in how it's going to go. At the time when we had 7, being able to mock to 7, we felt really good. I think most teams around the league felt really good which 7 players were going to go in some order. We discussed the merit of what possibilities there were for players at 7. Peely was not in anybody's top 7, so we knew that we would be at 8, the first team that would take her. So we were really confident. We were confident to make the trade in terms of being able to add. We needed to make sure we added a front court player. That was a priority for us, and one with a different skill set than what we have. Three-point shooting. And then I think the part of the value in the draft that we got was future assets. That's the draft capital was also important to us. So overall, value-wise, it all fell together for us.
great. Also follow up. So y'all have about nine. I think it's 9 guaranteed contracts, 6 training camp, and now 2 rookies, a couple players overseas. Do you feel like this is the group that you need to take a look at? That you feel confident you have all the players you want to evaluate to make those final roster decisions before the start of the season?
I feel really good as compared to maybe the last 2 seasons, in particular last season where it came down to the final day. Who was going to be on the roster. We were sort of unclear as to what our identity was going to be. We had we had the new rookie in Diamond Miller, weren't really sure. So we had a lot of uncertainties, I think, going into last season that don't exist this season. So I think our training camp is going to be a really good one. I'm excited about that. And I think our position to start the season is going to be, obviously the schedules, you can't really compare, it'll be a difficult schedule, but we're going to be better positioned in terms of how we feel about our team and how they feel about each other much earlier on this season.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Leo.
Frank?
I wonder if you could talk maybe about this draft, just potential interest is someone has what kind of attention, just the atmosphere surrounding this draft might mean for the league in general.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, because that's something that sort of hit me a little bit today. As we've gone through this season, obviously it's our job, we live it, and people talking about players in a draft, and Caitlin Clark, just obviously the phenom that she's become, and it's really beyond Caitlin. Caitlin's sort of the leader of it, but we've got some tremendous personalities coming into the league, and that have worked really hard in college. They've built their brand, so to speak, and so you see the benefits of that, the momentum, and so I think that's what we're feeling. Things that we have said about our sport that could be. We said this for a long time. The WNBA being around, more than 25 years. These are things that are natural to start happening, and so I think the timing of this draft class, the momentum around women's sports, made our WNBA draft a spectacle this evening that maybe in a way we're going to find out ratings-wise that hasn't been seen before. So all that is exciting. Certainly I'm not looking forward to guarding Caitlin Clark, but I'm looking forward to having Caitlin and Cameron and Camilla and just all the personalities. Looking forward to having them in the league, and really the players that are in the league now, welcome them as well, because we understand that we're all in this together and we're all going to rise together. So it's really an incredible time, and that was not lost on me today.
Nick?
Hey, Coach. I know Ruthie Hebert's on a training camp contract, but you have the 2 Alaskan players in the WNBA now. You mentioned their whys as you're researching who they are as people. Is there any correlation there, just from the last frontier, really homegrown, to being on the biggest stage in this sport? Is there any correlation between the 2 and how they compare as potential teammates?
Yeah, I can't say that there was any intention around connecting 2 Alaskans, but that's kind of fun. To have 2. I think it varies by the individual in terms of their whys. We've gotten to know Liz probably a little better than Ruthie in that. Ruthie's in market now. We're going to spend some time with her and understand her more. I just know they're both really quality people, and I know their families are important to them. And they're 2 Alaskans that are happy to represent their home, and we're excited to have them.
Kent? Terry?
Kent's in his perpetual hand raise.
No, I just wanted to ask you really quick. What I see you took that Louisville guard in the 3rd round.
Kiki Jefferson.
She'll have to come in here and prove something. But what do you see in her, and what are her prospects?
Yeah, thanks for asking about Kiki. That's a player that if you go back a little bit, if you've been watching college basketball, she was a really quality player at James Madison and made a decision to transfer to finish her career at Louisville. I thought that her her showing her game probably happened more frequently at James Madison. At Louisville, it was a little more, sort of fit in, average, minutes, whatever we're down for. It was more of a group, maybe style in terms of it wasn't her team. And I think that what we really enjoy about Kiki is, we in a very affectionate way, kind of an old school game. The game is slow for her in terms of how she processes things, and that's a compliment. And she impacts the game in a variety of ways. Anybody that knows us, that's, being a productive player is something we really value. And so in terms of the box score, she's a player that understands how to impact multiple columns in the box score. And so I think every player has a chance to compete for a job. Could be for this season, could be when we make changes during the season, could be for next season. So you're always competing for a job, and we're looking forward to seeing Kiki in training camp.